Do you want to experience the thrill of a Packers game at Lambeau Field? If so, be sure to get your game tickets from the longtime trusted source in Wisconsin, Ticket King. Visit their locations in Milwaukee and Green Bay, or just go to their website, theticketking.com. Again, that's theticketking.com.
And now, for fans of the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers, this is Cheesehead TV Live.
Cheetahs don't stretch, and neither do we.
I think you're an idiot. And I mean that with the most respect possible that I can give to an idiot.
Packers Hall of Fame quarterback Jay Cutler.
It's not as fun to say as Equinemius.
That is a perfect example of a wrong opinion. Ring the bell. All right, welcome back, Packers fans. Cheesehead TV Live, kicking it off Sunday Night Football style. Packers, Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. We are back. Jason Perone and Jeremy VanDerLinden of Cheesehead TV. What up, dude?
Not much, man. I just want to say, we're not the only ones on the show today. You don't know this, but just out there behind you, that dude has been taking a nap out on the patio for like an hour. And it's the best. I'm very happy about it. I think it's a Bears fan. You can see his head out there. He's very hungover.
Well, the Bears clearly were hibernating. If you watched their game earlier today, kicker woes continue in the NFC North. Okay, so as we always do before we get into any of the show's content, we have today's inactives. Most of us know who the Chiefs inactives are. That was a big news drop that came out on, was either Thursday or Friday. So, Jeremy, take it away.
All right, hold on. I'm not prepared. I was making sure the audio was on because that mistake has happened.
For the Chiefs.
But I'm ready now.
Patrick, okay, go for it.
Okay, Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs, obviously. Chris Jones, that's a big one. Eric Fisher. Andrew, Wiley? Andrew Wiley. Kendall Fuller, and Frank Clark, all out. That is a huge, huge list of core players for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Those are all key starters. Like normally when you're like you have your third quarterback or your eighth cornerback, these are literally key players.
Yep. For the Packers, you got Devontae Adams, Ryan Grant, Robert Tonyan, Cole Madison, Adam Pankey, and Tim Williams are out today. No real surprises, but some of them are a bummer. I'm
going to be honest with you. Also, I didn't update this.
You didn't? Oh, yeah.
So that might not actually be totally
accurate. Are those your guesses, Jason?
No. I know that Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan are out, but
all
the
right,
others.
Hold on.
It could be. I don't know. It's a little weird.
To the internet.
You know, normally when this show kicks off, it's like a 12 noon game, and there's like a routine. You get up, you check the inactives. It's, but the night games with everything else that's going on, we let this one slip through the cracks. So, my mea culpa, my apologies to all of you out there in Packers land who are probably slamming us on the chat. So I will close the chat right now so I don't feel bad about myself.
They're not slamming us. They love us
probably
in the
are.
chat. Well, they might be.
That's fine, as they should. Yeah, I would be. All right, so while we're looking up the inactives on the Packers side, I think obviously the big news is that Patrick Mahomes not playing in this game. So Matt Moore is going to get the start for the Chiefs. Matt Moore has not played a full game of football in over a year, although he did fill in after Mahomes went out against Denver, and the Chiefs held on and won that game. Matt Moore is a tested veteran. He's not the most Joe-like backup quarterback, and you also have head coach Andy Reid of the Chiefs, who's an offensive mastermind in his own right. We know that from his time here in Green Bay with the Packers and Brett Favre and his instrumental role in that. So he's going to make this playbook very manageable for Matt Moore. That's the biggest news coming out of Chiefs land. Did we get the inactives?
Yes, I do.
What do we got?
You were close. Add Kadar Holman for the Packers and add Greg Senat for the Chiefs. That's all you missed.
Wow. So it's essential. So Ryan Grant is inactive again.
Yeah, Ryan Grant is inactive again this week.
Okay. So, all right. So there you have it. So
back you make that addition because you need a receiver, but then I get it. He doesn't know the playbook, and it takes a little time, but still slightly odd.
So back to the news here. So, obviously when you see this many key guys out for Kansas City, you kind of think to yourself, all right, they're trying to get guys healthy, and they realize that this is going to be a tough matchup, and maybe it just is what it is. The perfect storm hit them. These guys need some rest. Now, the funny thing is, a lot of them are close to playing this week and aren't going to play this week, but the Chiefs are playing the Vikings next week, so they might end up getting to see some of those guys. But your thought, there's, obviously no one is Patrick Mahomes, but they've lost their last two games at home. The Chiefs are beatable, even with Patrick Mahomes playing. So Matt Moore being in there, I mean, do you expect this to be a huge drop-off?
I do, but not just because of Matt Moore. With all the other injuries, it's going to be a problem for them. I mean, Matt Moore is going to be under pressure a lot tonight, so there's going to be a lot of problems there for that offense. They already don't run the ball well. Now you got a backup quarterback playing who's going to be under pressure. And, yeah, you have Kelsey and you have Tyreek Hill, but it doesn't matter what kind of weapons you got if your quarterback's constantly under duress. And that's – so I think tonight – I think there is going to be a big drop-off because of that huge list of inactives for the Chiefs.
I don't know. I think Andy Reid's, like I said, he's going to make the playbook manageable for Moore and give him opportunities. Sammy Watkins comes back. You mentioned Tyreek Hill. He's very fast. The one thing the Chiefs don't do really well or a lot is run the ball.
Yep.
So the Packers may, find that it's a little bit easier sledding there because they play the pass pretty well or a little bit better there. When we get to the defensive side of the ball, we'll talk about the pass rush because the Packers were able to beat the Raiders without getting a sack at all last week. Oakland had a really good game plan for the Smiths on the outside, and no one else could get home. The blitz couldn't get home. They couldn't get anybody else to get pressure, and that's Oakland. Quick pass. I think that Kansas City will probably take a page out of that book, and it might be a little bit tough. But we'll stick with the script this week. So on the Packers side of news, some good news. Darnell Savage returns at safety, which is a sight for sore eyes back there. The guys have filled in for him. Shannon Sullivan, Will Redmond did a pretty good job. They were serviceable, but having Savage back there again is really going to be helpful, especially this week when you've got Travis Kelce. We saw what Darren Waller did against the Packers last week in the middle, tight end. Travis Kelce's an all-pro. They need Savage to be a big part of the equation in stopping that guy. So Devontae Adams not going to play in this game, but he did practice this week, and so it's tough to know what the timeline is that the team has, but I've heard some rumblings that maybe next week against the Chargers could be a target.
Yeah, I think it's good to have Savage back. Timing is great. You're playing Travis Kelce, and enough of these tight ends beating up the Packers, maybe he can help. I think this week, Oren Burks is going to play a lot. I think I would rather see him the entire game over B.J. Goodson because I think they don't run the ball well. Kansas City they don't do that well. So if I'm the Packers, I'm worried about the passing game. I'm worried about Travis Kelce. That's the key thing there to cover up. And I think having Oren Burks on the field and Savage at the same time, having Savage back, I think you can really help yourself out doing that. Having Savage back this week is absolutely huge. So
yeah, this is what Oren Burks was drafted to do: cover tight ends and be a guy in the middle that can take some of that stuff away. Blake Martinez isn't that guy. That's not what they asked him to do. Blake's a different type of linebacker, but Oren Burks, this is what they brought him in for. So It's time to unleash that. He's finally healthy for a stretch. Let's turn him loose. All right. So on the news side, that'll do it there. So let's start with the offensive side of the ball and the offensive keys to this game for the Green Bay Packers.
All right.
And it is a pop. It is touchdown. How did he catch that?
Okay, so offensive keys to the game. Jeremy, if I told you, this is like the start of the 30 for 30 series, what if I told you that an NFL team is giving up almost 150 yards a game rushing? That would be the Kansas City Chiefs defense. They are absolutely allowing teams to run on them. Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, paging Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, please.
Yes, absolutely. It should be a huge night tonight for the running game. So this is crucial for the Chiefs. Not having Chris Jones is like that is what they're going to do to stop the run. Having Chris Jones is crucial for that to happen.
And Walker or Clark. Frank Clark.
He's their best pass rusher.
But can he set the edge? I don't know.
I think so.
And he's out.
Losing both those guys up front for that defense is huge.
Yeah, big.
The Packers should be able to run the ball tonight. And, yes, absolutely, Aaron Jones needs a bounce-back game. That Cowboys game was fantastic, and then 2 weeks, not quite as pretty. So I think this week could be another Cowboys game for Aaron Jones where he could go off. And if I'm the Packers, I'm planning to lean on him because they should get ahead in this game pretty quickly, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that stuff, and be leaning on Aaron Jones most of the night. I think that's the way they got to do it.
Okay, so unsung heroes. I mentioned this on the Pulse of the Pack, another show that I do, that I am, as the Game Balls and Lame Calls author, delinquent in giving a game ball to Brian Bulaga this season so far. Unsung hero of the year by far for this entire team. He hasn't given up any sacks. Yeah, and he's had to hold some really, really good guys at bay. You've got some good notes here. Control the line of scrimmage. Very, very important. And this offensive line is one of the best in football. Billy Turner is finally getting on board. This unit is working really well together. Elton Jenkins, we've talked about him 1,000 times, been fantastic at left guard. The Colts Held the Chiefs at bay. They couldn't get any pressure. I know that was 2 games ago, but they didn't get any sacks against Indianapolis. You keep Aaron Rodgers upright. You keep him clean in this game. I might feel a little bit better about it, and I'll let you know what that's all about later in the show. But if the Chiefs are going to do this, if they're going to look, we're going to try to stop the run, and we're going to make the Packers have to throw it a bunch. Well, your consolation prize is you're putting the ball in the hands of a future Hall of Famer and the FedEx Air Player of the Week.
Yeah.
Best wishes. So, but if they're going to take away the pass, then either way, up front, offensive line's got to create some holes. It's got to be a mash unit up there.
Well, okay, this Chiefs defense was already bad. Mm-hmm. It was already bad, and now they've lost their best defensive lineman, their best pass rusher, and they've lost a crucial corner. So their best corner on a team that already didn't have any corners. They don't have defensive backs. That's one of their biggest struggles. The Chiefs don't defend the pass very well. They didn't last year. It's not like it's been great this year. It's better this year than last year. But they are struggling. And you brought up that Colts game. So in the Colts game, they couldn't get any pressure. But not only that, they allowed Marlon Mack to run for 132 yards and 4.6 yards per carry. I'll take that. 4.6 yards sounds pretty darn good. The Colts dominated the game on the line of scrimmage. But the most important thing is they dominated time of possession, and the Packers can do that tonight. They can dominate time of possession. Now, they can also score really, really fast. We've seen the Packers do that and just do that a ton, but I do believe tonight there's going to come a time where they're burning clock because they're going to run the ball a lot tonight. The Chiefs' defense sucks. They're going to get ahead. Okay, I know we're going to get into predictions.
Well, no, but you know what? No, you actually brought up a good point that I was thinking about is what if the Chiefs' strategy is, look, our defense is annihilated with injuries this week.
Grind it.
So we're going to let Green Bay do what they do quickly.
Yeah.
And we're just going to try to turn this into a shootout and win that way.
Well, I don't think they'd win a shootout. I think their best
bet
is sloppy football where they're grinding it out.
Here's the other thing, too. When the Packers went into Dallas, they had key injuries, and it didn't look good. And it was a tough road game. What happened? Why did Green Bay get off to such a fast start? Because Dallas made a couple of mistakes early. The Packers cannot shoot themselves in the foot early. Yeah. Big turnovers or give the Chiefs some points and some confidence and then let Kansas City start to control the pace of this game. Green Bay, if they want to run the ball, they've got to control the line of scrimmage. You've got it written right here. It's the oldest rule in all of football. Win in the trenches, win the time of possession, win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. If the Packers lose tonight, it would be because the Packers lost the game. They're not going to get beat by the Chiefs tonight. They would have to mess up pretty badly to lose this game.
Arrowhead Stadium's a tough place to play. I can't remember the last time Kansas City lost 3 games in a row. As a matter of fact, actually, yes, I do. I think it was 2011. And something happened in Kansas City also in 2011 that we don't need to talk about.
We're not going to talk about that.
So on the offensive side of the ball, looking ahead a little bit here, you've got Devontae Adams who's eventually going to come back. He's clearly one of your best offensive players. You don't not want him to come back, but look at what this offense is doing while he's been gone. I want to give some credit once again, Matt LaFleur, Nathaniel Hackett, creating a game plan that makes sense for the players that you have and the opponent that you're going up against. Not something we've seen a ton of in recent years. It is a sight for sore eyes. And finally, the brain trust in Green Bay gets it. Look, we got to change the game plan from week to week. We got to do what works. Once again this week, guys are going to be called upon to step up. Again, Alan Lazard, Geronimo Allison, Jimmy Graham, Mercedes Lewis, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is going to be active again. Fortunately, all those bumps and bruises the receivers had were temporary. Kumaro, they're going to have to step it up again, and in a very loud road venue. And you've got some young players, and this is going to be their big welcome to a tough road game.
I have a confession. I need to say something here. First of all, the guy on the patio is still there, and I really like that. I hope he sticks around for the entirety of the night, just snoozing on the patio at the Watershed. So if you need a good place to nap, the Watershed is it. You can come on down. The patio looks real comfortable. That guy seems to be enjoying himself.
Now, what you cannot do is come down here and nap and loiter and not get some very tasty beverages at the bar or order food from the staff. That would be called loitering, and that is not permitted.
I don't think you can nap like that in a chair like that without having bought a few beverages first.
Got it.
I'm sure he's had a few.
All right, doing it right.
He's snoozing out there. So, okay, confession time. I just crapped all over Jimmy Graham last week in the pregame show.
You said that sentence slow enough to where I started to move, like, do I have to get up and move away?
I did not crap.
Okay.
I crapped on Jimmy Graham last week, okay? I said Jimmy Graham was done. He's done. Jimmy Graham's done. Let's just put Mercedes Lewis out there. Jimmy Graham's done. And he went off. So this week I'm going to say this. Jimmy Graham sucks, and he's the worst. And let's see what happens.
I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a really tough night, and I think Aaron Jones is I think he's a flash in the pan. There.
All right. All right.
We'll throw
those things out. We'll just
there.
throw those things out and then see what kind of because really what happens is, Jason, you and I make our predictions, and then literally the opposite thing happens. So, yeah, let's just say Jimmy Graham sucks. Aaron Rodgers he's done, and watch these guys go off tonight.
Well,
that
if that
great.
includes our game pick, then some of you might like the vibe of that.
Not mine.
When it comes, all right, we're gonna move on to the other side of the ball, the defense. Where again, the Packers got Darnell Savage Jr. back this week, and the rest of their stout defense is doing well. We're going to need to see some improvement from the guys up front, and then hopefully the Smiths can. We didn't get to see that new sack celebration. We still haven't seen this, so I'm really excited for it. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball.
Keys to the game. Defense.
They bring everybody. Allen trying to get out of trouble. Allen chucks it downfield. Intercepted. Allen has it picked off. Jair Alexander is brought down, and the Bills come up empty.
All right, the Bills came up empty. Man, did they come up empty again today, folks? Show. They got beat by the Eagles.
The Eagles.
All right.
Stomping on the Buffalo Bills.
We already kind of buried the lead. Defensive side of the ball, obviously, Matt Moore back there. You've got the left side of the Chiefs' offensive line out. Eric Fisher and Wiley are both out. We need to see some pressure on a quarterback tonight. It is absolutely paramount. It is not optional. It is mandatory. There must be pressure on the passer.
Must be pressure on the passer, but good news. I don't know if you're aware, and I'm sure you are, the Chiefs don't have their left tackle or their left guard. So here's what I would do if I'm the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to line up Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith on that side and run and just hammer them like a freaking sledgehammer. Eventually the wall's going to come down, and they're going to get to Matt Moore. That's the plan tonight. If I'm Mike Pettin, I'm saying, hey, these two backups, they're not going to be able to handle these two guys. And when those two guys line up next to each other, they are pretty dominant. So it would be really tough to handle both. I would expect that that's what they're going to do tonight. Now, I said that before earlier in the season that I thought I'd see that. I don't remember what team they were playing, and I was wrong. But this week, I'm saying it's going to happen. That's what they're going to do. They're putting Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith next to each other a lot tonight to get pressure against those two guys.
Man, the water is hitting the lake out here just perfect, or the sun is hitting the lake just perfectly, and it's like caraming right into my. This reminds me of the Bears game where it rained for a second and then the sun came out and the Packers won a big game on the road.
It was beautiful.
It's
just
time,
as beautiful
in prime time, and it's time for it to happen again tonight. So yeah, the pressure's got to be there, but this is also an area where we need to see guys stepping up. This includes, like I said before we started the segment, Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry. They need to get some pressure up the middle without sending a stunt, without having to send Blake Martinez or extra bodies. Last week they tried to blitz Darnell Savage or Adrian Amos and Tremont Williams, and Oakland just had an answer for it every single time. So they've got to get home. They've got to get that pressure. Rashawn Gary, it's time, dude. You've got one sack. He had one sack against Denver 3 weeks ago. Or was that 4 weeks ago? It's time. It is time. Rashawn Gary needs to become part of this thing, and I'll throw Kyler Fackrell in there too, but I can't. It is time. He's not that type of guy. So get home, pressure the passer. Okay, tackle a quarterback. If you see one, tackle one. Okay, if you see something, say something. If you see a quarterback, tackle a quarterback. All right, rinse and repeat. Last week, Darren Waller had about 700 yards and 13 touchdowns, it seems like, against the Packers. Could have had 14 if Will Redmond doesn't make a phenomenal tackle near the goal line, which a play later, the Packers get the ball back as Derek Carr fumbles. I don't think Matt Moore is going to do that tonight, by the way, folks. I don't think he's going to try to run and hit the pylon is what that. He might fumble. He's not going to try to run and hit the pylon. Matt Moore can't run either, so he's not mobile, and he ain't going to try to scramble. So the Packers have they have a statue in the pocket of which to get after, and they should get after him. Travis Kelce, all-pro tight end. He's a thing. He finds ways to get open. You can't totally stop him. But, again, Savage is back.
Yeah.
What do they do? How do they corral this young man?
Well,
Or getting older man?
pray?
Pray.
I don't know.
Eat, pray, love.
I got very distracted by Oliver's comment. Can I comment on Oliver's comment?
You can. I have not seen it.
So he said, depending on how quick the release is of Matt Moore, the backup quarterback, the constant blitzing can rip holes in the secondary, let alone the run defense. Not sure if that's the way to go. But here's the thing, Oliver. Here's the thing. We're not talking about blitzing.
No, not blitzing. It's just
you're sending your four pass rushers
to
get to the quarterback. So this is not blitzing. We are talking about strictly the pass rushers pass rushing. That's what they're going to do. That's all they need to do because this Chiefs offensive line is really rough right now. It's in a bad spot. So they're not going to need to send anybody extra. It should just be 4 guys, and the rest of the guys are going to be able to drop back in coverage. Don't you worry your little head. My little German friend. You don't have to worry.
Wes Craven with a real good little funny in the chat. I love it. Hilarious. What did the Packers defense say when waiting in line at the stadium? We want more. Nothing. Watershed's busy. They're talking amongst themselves.
That's funny.
They're busy.
Somebody said the guy behind us woke up, but then it looks like he fell over dead. So I don't know what's happening, but he's on his face now.
No, he's not awake.
We'll have to check on him.
He's not awake.
We'll have to check on him.
Okay, so cover the tight end, Travis Kelce. Obviously, everyone's going to take a page out of the 2 tight end playbook, and they're going to try to work that angle against the Packers defense because it works.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. So it works, and if it works, then you go for it.
If you got any keys to the game, real quick, I just want to say this. Throw them up there in the chat. Maybe we'll get to those. If you have any questions for us, now's a great time. Throw your questions in the chat, and maybe we'll get to some of those.
So the Chiefs don't run the ball very well to begin with, but you don't want them to really have that as an option. And that includes building an early lead, like you mentioned, controlling the clock when the Packers have the ball. Keep the Chiefs in longer down and distance. Make it second and long, third and long, third and short. Too many options. When you've got a guy like Tyreek Hill, he's like having another running back back there, and there's just too many plays in the book that you can pick up an easy yard or two with. This offense is. That's where they're good, and it's not Mahomes, but I think Matt Moore can run this thing and still generate some offense and some points for Kansas City.
Yep.
I predict it's going to be a higher scoring game, but the Packers have to kind of pull away a little bit. You force Moore to throw it, and you turn the ball over. Hopefully the Packers can pick it off a couple times. They tend to kind of need 2 to win most games. They usually get them in multiples. So get yourself a couple turnovers. AR-12 hasn't played at this stadium very much. He's been in the league for a really long time.
Yep.
I'm hoping that the script is something that's really nice and easy and it works well to kind of get him to play on the road. And don't think for one second this crowd isn't going to try to negate some of the loss of not having their quarterback out there.
Yeah. Okay, real quick. So Better Rack says hit the like buttons. If you're in the chat and you're enjoying the show, please hit that like button. That would be fantastic. We did have a question about Savage here. Let's see. Do you think Savage is going to have an impact today, big impact today, coming back from his injury?
Well, even if it's just an emotional boost to the defense, I think he will. And him being back there, game speed and all that kind of stuff, it probably doesn't take these guys that long to kind of get back into the rhythm of it. Yeah. So I think him being back there is going to be really big. Where it's going to help a lot is making sure that Watkins and Hill don't take the top off the defense.
So can somebody get the guy on the patio some water or a Bud Light or whatever to hydrate the guy? We'll check on him later and make sure he's okay out there. He's probably fine. Wes Cravens predicts that Savage will have an interception tonight. I like it. I like it a lot. I'll go with that. That sounds great. Let's see. Why is everyone asking to trade for an interior defensive lineman? Am I missing something? Yes and no. I think the issue is that Kenny Clark isn't really.
He's dinged up and D. Lowry's inconsistent.
And he's not the prototypical size either for a nose tackle in a 3-4. So people want to bring in a big beefy boy, like some who's the guy that brought in 2010, the guy from the Jets. Big
Howard
beefy,
Green.
Howard Green.
Well,
that's
the
it.
Jet Leonard Williams. Is it Leonard Williams with the Jets that's on the potentially teams are calling about?
Yeah, so I saw somebody in the chat say trade for him.
It's all about value. If you can get a good value, bring a guy like that in, then the middle of your defense becomes a problem. You can't run on him. If he can get a push, Mike Daniels isn't what he was, and he definitely was a good move moving on from him. We're seeing that, this season. He hasn't even played half the year for the Lions. But when he was able to get pressure, that was where the Packers defense really benefited, was from having him coming up the middle, and then you had Clay and whoever else, Perry, if he was, or whoever else was out there when Perry was hurt, 18 games out of the 16 games a year, coming after it. You can't ever have too many guys up front. It's like a defensive lineman and cornerbacks are two positions where you can't ever stack it up too much. So.
All right, so back to the chat. Let's see. Jordan Reed says, run the ball. Key to the game, run the ball. We're with you. We're right there with you. That should happen tonight. Number one, Pack says, why doesn't Aaron Rodgers go to the hurry-up more to catch 12 players on the field like he used to? I don't think he needs to because with McCarthy and the way that things were running before, it generally felt like luck was required to get shit done. Like this team wasn't going to move the ball without something bouncing their way, right? And I don't think they need to. The way that things are setting up right now, the way this offense is starting to click, they're getting easy yards. Things are coming together for them, and the offense is actually running the way that it's supposed to. So I don't need the free 5 yards if you're going to get 10 on a pass or a run. We don't need to go for the cheap shit when you can buy the good stuff, because that's where they're at now. They can afford the good stuff. Let's not worry about the cheap stuff anymore. We're not buying from the bottom shelf.
So what Jeremy's trying to say is that the Packers got a raise.
Yeah.
And now they have more disposable income?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they can buy that top shelf stuff. That's what they're going for.
None of that cheap shit.
That's right.
Let's both throw one out there if we're going to say
yeah,
it.
Right.
All right. So do we have enough time for game predictions?
I believe so. In fact, I think we're a little early, Jason. We have enough time for, I don't know, do the hokey pokey.
Oh, you're right. We do. I was saying I'm looking at the wrong time. I had the wrong time.
We got
so
time.
Let's see.
We got time. That's why I'm in the chat. I'm just letting the chat dominate the show. It's
Dean Lowry is our Juan Garcia says Dean Lowry is our best run defender. I don't know about that.
Hold on, I'm thinking.
I don't think he's our best. He's okay, but he's inconsistent. That's the problem.
I think I disagree. I think with you. I think he possibly is. I think he is an important part of the run defense. I think the biggest issue that they struggle with is lack of linebackers. Blake Martinez has to play literally every down, and you bring in, let's say you're in nickel, and now you got a safety playing that linebacker role. They don't really have the linebackers to chase things down, and the NFL is kind of shifting where it went away from running the ball. It went away from, well, not running, but it went away from power running. It went away from having fullbacks. It went away from all that stuff, and teams are starting to shift a little bit more the other direction now. So defenses are set up for high speed, playing a lot of nickel and playing the safety a lot, and nobody has two linebackers that are good enough to play every down in the game. And to have things where they're at right now for the Packers defense, they have to play their best linebacker all damn game. And when you bring in Oren Burks, he has a key role. You know what Oren Burks is there for. He's there for the passing game. And when you bring in BJ Goodson, you know what he's there for. He's the run defender, right? And teams know that. Like, if we know that, the teams they're playing know that as well. I think that there's not enough depth at the inside linebacker position. I think that is their biggest struggle against the run right now. It is literally Blake Martinez and then like some other dudes. That's what they got.
Yeah. Blake Martinez is another topic of conversation this week about whether his tackle stats mean anything. Is he good? Is he not good? Are they hollow? Are they not hollow? Should they pay him? Should they not pay him? Blake Martinez is a pretty steady guy. He's your green dot.
Yeah.
He's your green dot. So, right. I mean, the team trusts him enough to be that. I think the Packers see a lot of value in him, and I think his having a lot of tackles, look, I mean, he could also not have a lot of tackles because he's missing them. So at least if he's getting a bunch, he's making them.
Right. Con Krug commented on that, said Blake Martinez had a subpar game last week, but he doesn't quite understand the hate that he's getting from Packers fans. His quotes, not mine. But I think it's a good point. I think there is a struggle here with Packers fans, the group of Packers fans that come around for the shows that we do or on Twitter in general right now is there's just like a hanging negativity that won't go away, okay? This Packers team is not last year's Packers team. And last year's Packer team wasn't the Packer team from the year before, and so on and so on and so on and so on. However, there's a group of Packer fans that feel so down because of the stuff we watched for the last 3 years. They haven't been able to pull themselves out of that funk yet. Just chill out. Enjoy the ride. This team is winning football games. They got one loss, and it's been a joy to watch. Chill out. Blake Martinez is fine. How many years did we watch A.J. Hawk play subpar football? But A.J. Hawk was an important part of the defense, and nobody ever wanted to give him credit for that.
He was solid. You would rather
solid.
have him there than not.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't a fifth overall burner type guy, but if you needed him or you wanted him on the team more than you didn't. Absolutely.
Brandy says the Packers better win. She shaved her legs for this. Okay, me too.
Well, Brad shaved his face, so let's not discriminate, okay? Brad shaved his face. In fact, I shaved a little bit today, too. It's because I had to go into work earlier today on a Sunday, which I never do, which is terrible. I had to race here to be with you beautiful people.
Wes Craven said he shaved his dog.
I raced down the freeway at speeds I could have gotten ticketed for to be here for all of you. So
it's true.
I'm not fishing for compliments or thank yous or accolades.
But you should hit the thumbs up button to compliment Jason for being here on time for the show.
I'm just saying that's kind of what I did there. So, all right. Game predictions. Jeremy.
You ready for it?
You decide who's going to go first.
You know what? I'm going to let you go first. I'll let you
Probably a
do
good
your
idea.
thing.
Probably a good
you
idea.
do your thing.
Okay, friends, this is where I look squarely at the camera and I say, before the season started, I picked every game. When I've deviated from that pick so far this season, it has been wrong. I picked the Chiefs to beat the Packers because it was the Chiefs that we know.
Yep, sure.
It's still a road game. It's still Arrowhead Stadium. It's still Andy Reid. It's still the Chiefs offense. Weird things happen. The Packers are probably not going to win every game the rest of the season. So I'm just going to hope that I'm wrong and I eat crow. I've got this 130 Chiefs somehow.
Okay, so I think it's fair. Your idea here is fine.
Okay.
That so far you've been changing your predictions and it's not gone the way that you've been changing them to. It's been more to your prediction at the beginning of the season before the season started. Okay, I get that. Great. I'm okay with you wanting to stick to that. That's fine. I think that's a fine reason.
However, I also gave other reasons for it.
No, that's great. I have deviated from my preseason picks. I thought the Packers would lose a bunch early on and then win a lot later in the season and make the playoffs. That was my prediction. I was wrong, but I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna stick with changing my prediction. The Packers win big tonight. I think the Packers are going to win tonight. 38-10 is going to be an ugly game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Big game for the Green Bay Packers. That defense already sucked, and now they're missing huge pieces. Now, Jason's got this face because he's afraid.
Well, they can see it.
Yeah, he's afraid.
I deserve that.
It does have this like potential trap game thing going on.
Yeah, very much so.
But the culture in this locker room is different from the last few years, okay? And I don't think that this group of guys is going to show up and lay an egg because the Chiefs suck. What did Coach say last week? All gas, no effing break.
No effing break, yeah.
That's right.
Thank God you scared me.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to drop an F-bomb in the watershed. Dan would kick us out. All gas, no effing break. That is the attitude of this football team. I think that happens tonight. All gas, no break.
If they get a chance,
stomp the crap out of the Chiefs.
If they get a chance to do that, they're going to absolutely do that. Then run up the score. I'm fine with running up the score. I'll tell you this right now. I also had them losing to the Chargers next week. And I can tell you that if the Packers surprise me and win this game, they're apparently not surprising anybody else, but if they win this game, I am very likely going to change my prediction next week.
Okay. All right.
So that's my give back to all of you.
All right. Real quick. Since next week the Packers are playing the Chargers, I do want to mention that Bears game because I know you didn't get to watch it because you were working and you couldn't watch it. I just want to share with you the pure joy that I experienced.
Wait, hold on. Do we have the audio from last year's playoff game? Okay, not readily available.
But I do have the Bears still suck. I am going to play that before the show is over. Just a little bit of the Bears still suck for you. I felt pure joy watching the fans in Chicago watch as that ball went wide left to end that football game, and the Chargers
it's always the left crossbar too.
It's beautiful. It was just so great. I love watching Bears fans be sad.
Where's George? How come George doesn't come by anymore?
I don't know.
He's a Bears fan.
Yeah.
The Bears
that is it.
still suck.
I told him to come back. He did win a gift card in week 1, so I'm surprised he's not here eating something for free. But hey, you know what? The Bears do suck.
So basically what you're saying is, even though it wasn't Cody Parkey Fayo?
Yeah.
Parkey Fayo, and the Bears lose yet another game, and Matt Nagy looked a little testy at the podium after the game, I can tell you that. So he doesn't really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to talk about it. So the Vikings did win their game Thursday night, so they move a little bit ahead here. So it's the Vikings in second place. The Bears are sinking. The Lions got in the win column today against the New York Giants. So the Bears look like they're kind of back in their rightful position in this division. That's
Sweet.
not. They rarely finish in the cellar. Usually that's the Lions, but I'm gonna take a jab every chance I get.
All right. You got anything else to say?
I got nothing else to say. Enjoy the game. It's going to be a fun one. Primetime TV, Aaron Rodgers, light it up. Go, Pack, go. This has been Cheesehead TV Live.
The Bears still suck.
Thank you for listening to Cheesehead TV Live. Check out cheeseheadtv.com for more great Packers content.